So today's video is going to be a little bit different than my other videos. I'm going to be sharing a very personal story about my experience with Greek life. I want to give a little disclaimer before I start this video. This is absolutely not a reflection of the sorority's chapter here at High Point, but more just a reflection of national headquarters and how they dealt with this whole situation. I honestly can say that I love every single girl that is in the chapter of the sorority that I was in, and also Greek life as a whole is an amazing experience. But it obviously just isn't for everybody. I'm not telling this story to bash the sorority. I'm telling it because I think that there are a lot of other important messages behind it. And also I'm obviously always 100% real with you guys. And if you know me, I'm a very open person, but I have been kind of keeping this inside because I wasn't really ready to talk about it, and I wanted to make sure that I was in a good place before I put it out there on the internet. But I am doing very much better now, so I wanted to share it with you guys because also when I've put Q&As on my Instagram and stuff, a lot of you guys have asked whether or not I am still part of a sorority, and the short answer is no, I am not. Also, I promised myself that I was not going to cry while I told this story, so if it's kind of like stop and go or it seems like there are kind of weird edits or cuts, it's just because I needed to take a deep breath and a little sip of water before I kept going. So with that, let's get started. So going back to school second semester for me was really hard because I was in a lot harder classes than I was first semester, and I was just beyond stressed. I've struggled with anxiety and depression for a while, but I've improved so much from when I first started feeling the way I was, but obviously there are always going to be, you know, bad days and bad times. So I just felt like I needed to go home for a weekend and I needed to go back to the East Coast and just relax. So I decided that I was going to go home Thursday after my classes and spend Thursday and Friday at home to see my family and also go to a few doctor's appointments. And then I figured, you know, it's not productive obviously to just sit around at home all weekend, so I decided to go spend the rest of the weekend in New York City with one of my best friends from Martha's Vineyard because we don't get to see each other a lot, and it was a weekend that both worked for us. So we just figured, you know, like, let's just spend some time in the city and do some fun stuff to just take our minds off of everything. The only problem was I had a mandatory retreat for my sorority that weekend where the national headquarters were coming to High Point to like do some like different things with us, and it was like very mandatory, but I have always tried my best to put my mental health first because in the past I haven't, and things just have not gone well. So I emailed in saying that I wasn't going to be able to be at the retreat because I was going home to deal with some health stuff, and I didn't really go into detail because I felt like if they needed more information they would just ask, and I didn't want to like send some crazy long email explaining everything, and obviously I was more than happy to talk more about it if they needed that information, but no one really asked. If you looked at my social media from that weekend, it would just look like I was having a really fun weekend in New York City with my friends, and it was also the weekend that Halsey was performing and hosting Saturday Night Live, so that was very exciting, but obviously there was so much more going on behind that, and this is just kind of like shows that, you know, social media can be incredibly deceiving and people want to post all of the good stuff in their life and obviously not necessarily the bad stuff. So I got back that Sunday feeling way more like refreshed and relaxed just from taking a break and not going out or having to like just like worry about making a lot of plans at school and stuff. So I was like ready to, you know, like take on my hard classes and just try to improve everything. But then fast forward about a week and a half, I get an email from the national headquarters saying that I was terminated from the sorority and that I needed to hand in my badge and my apparel, etc., and that if I wanted to I could appeal. It didn't even really hit me until I got back from my classes that day, and I was literally a total mess. I was honestly just so surprised that they didn't give me any warning before like making such a big decision. Had they like reached out to me and been like, hey, this retreat was really important, and you know, we really need to understand why it was so necessary that you missed it, I obviously would have explained the situation, but I just wasn't given a heads up. And I mean, obviously they were giving me the option to appeal, but like with everything going on, that was like the last thing I needed to worry about. So I just felt like they didn't really take me or anything that might be going on in my life into consideration. So at one point it was mentioned that we would possibly be punished if we didn't go, but because I had sent in like a medical excuse, I figured that I wasn't gonna be punished for taking care of myself. So obviously I appealed and I explained my situation, and I was told I would hear back in like a week or so. This was also during our philanthropy week, so I wasn't allowed to participate in any of those events, nor was I allowed to go to any other events. So I just felt like I was being punished for taking care of myself. And also, like, you know, sometimes like our emotions are out of our control, but like what was in my control was to improve my situation, and that's what I was trying to do. At one point I considered retracting my appeal and just accepting the termination because I was just so stressed out and I could not get it out of my mind. It was starting to take away from my academics and my social life, and there was just so much going on. But I decided to, you know, try to wait it out, and after I got the outcome, I would decide whether or not I still wanted to be in the sorority if I had the option to choose. In the middle of March break, I get this email back saying that my appeal had been partially granted, meaning that I was back in the sorority, but I was on the like 3rd stage of probation, meaning that if one more thing like happened or something was like went bad, I would be kicked out permanently. And then they also said this, I'm going to read it off my computer, and this is where I really got upset. So keep in mind that this is after I had explained how much I had been struggling and all of that. Then they send me this in the letter. They said, while you submitted an excuse and we would have likely accepted it as an excuse, it was our understanding that you also attended a concert while your chapter sisters were working to move the chapter forward. At this point, I was literally sobbing in my hotel room. I honestly have no idea where they got that information. I know it's very, very like me to leave school to go to a concert, but that was not the case that weekend. The only thing I could really think of is I had posted screenshots on my Instagram of Halsey like performing and hosting on SNL, because it's really rare that someone does both on the same night, so I was just really excited and proud. But other than that, I honestly have literally no idea where they got that information. I never want to feel the way that I did the day that I got my letter of termination or the day that I got my outcome letter back ever again. And I honestly just can't be a part of something where I'm gonna be penalized for putting myself and my mental health or physical health first, because that's what I dealt with in high school, and I just can't like relive that again. I'm so thankful for all the people that helped me through this very hard time, and I'm also so thankful for all of the friends that I've made in the sorority, and they're always going to be my friends no matter what. I cannot stress this enough. If you guys are ever struggling with anything, first of all, ask for help. Tell someone that you are struggling, whether it's a parent or a teacher, a therapist, a friend, literally anyone. You will just feel so much better after you talk to someone about it. Keeping your feelings bottled up inside of you is just a recipe for disaster. And second of all, just don't be afraid to put yourself and your physical health and your mental health first, because that is the most important thing. You know, if you're dealing with something like that and then you're trying to balance like social life and schoolwork and any other things that you might have going on, it just makes it 100 times harder when you're also, you know, struggling with your own personal things. Please remember to take care of yourself and be kind to others, because you never know what's going on like behind the scenes in someone's life, and it's incredibly important to always remember that. If you guys need anything ever, if you guys need to talk, all of my socials are linked down below, so please never be afraid to message me on any platform. I will always answer you guys, and I'm here to talk. I've also put some hotlines down below if anyone needs them. I hope that this video made you guys realize that it's okay to not be okay sometimes. And thank you all for listening to my story. Again, I just want to stress that this is obviously not to bash my sorority or Greek life or anything. It's just my personal experience. So I just wanted you guys to understand what I've been going through, because it has been really hard. But one of the things that has constantly just made me feel better is making videos and just like seeing you guys enjoy them, and me personally being happy with like the outcomes. So thank you guys for always like watching and subscribing and everything, because this is something that makes me really happy, and I really hope that you guys are respectful about me sharing my story. Subscribe for more happy content coming soon, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.